divine student of love. Everyone's acceptance of being a student is an essential element of remembering. The knower of the world and the perceived confidence that that is meant to develop is being called to be surrendered. It's almost like a child who has a Halloween costume on and they don't want to take it off. And in that, as they decide that they're going to keep on wearing this costume, this is the ego's strategy in the belief of separation. The knower that gets developed looks different enough from every other knower that the illusion of actually knowing something is held as truth. And everything in it is called to be given to the student to question in the name of God, in the name of love, in the name of reality. And the time of healing is directly related to the refusal, the resistance to being the student of the illusion that's been made. Not a student to learn about it, you already know it from inside out, but to see its insanity and to see how that developed identity is the roadblock to love. It isn't outside. It's a roadblock that has been built within and is totally given free rein over your life. And the fear that arises in the belief that something precious is going to be lost is the lie that really holds a lot of pain and resistance that is pain. Every day is the day of the student, of the learning through the everyday life that shows up to be recognized as a mirror that allows you to learn. Everything is provided for learning. Every situation, every moment, every habit, everything is there to be used for learning. It's a gift. It's a gift that as you enter into the spiritual journey as deeply as possible, the learning becomes every moment because It's what you're here for. It's what you said yes to the spiritual journey, was to have the ability to dive, to devote, to study, to learn, relearn, open to what is already within, and reject the made up insanity that is what's been believed in. And it is insanity because it has no resemblance to love. It's a game. It's a game that is being played, and much like a chess game, everybody's making their moves with their minds, but not even realizing that it's all a game. In the last satsang, the poem was about a goofy face. And that continues because the belief in the false identity is so ridiculous. It's so insane. And to believe in it. It's not that the personality is that ridiculous, it looks normal. But the belief that it is the valuable part of who you are is what is laughable, because it has absolutely no connection at all with your divine self. And that's why it's so essential to really recognize what it is, because or else it's revered, it's improved on, it's honed in all different kinds of ways. And there are many prayers and poems that have similar words that say, you can stop working on that ship that's going to sink, because it's not a blessed use of your time. Open to the divine spirit within and allow it to teach you. The Holy Spirit is joined in that spirit within, and your teacher is always with you. How many lifetimes has the teacher been with you? Every lifetime. Have you listened? Have you finally said, enough of this old stuff? Teach me to love. Teach me the truth. Teach me the ways of the holiness of God. Everything that you do or say or think is either a reflection of insanity or a reflection of God's blessings. And every action, every thought is run by fear or love. And nothing that you dress it up in changes whether it's run by fear or love. And if you're not aware of whether it is run by fear or love, like really aware, then you're attacking yourself by not being so kind to yourself as wanting to see whether you're being run by fear or love. It is the most loving offering that you can offer to yourself and to humanity, because you're one or the other in every moment. What is it for? So allow yourself to accept that you are here to learn. You are here to allow the Holy Spirit to unravel the assumptions, the assessments, the habits, everything unraveled. And to learn to not be afraid of being unraveled, to welcome it, and to, at the same time, surrender the identity with that unraveling, surrendering the identity of the habits, surrendering that they were never you, they were never anything real. You are the light of God, whole and complete, as divine creation, one. How does that fit into a made-up self? It can't. It doesn't. That acknowledgement is so essential. Honesty, so essential to remembering, to healing, allowing yourself that honesty. And this hymn is somewhat of what's going on underneath the facade of the knower, because everyone is in disturbance and upset because that knower is running the show, and your spirit is longing to return home to truth, to peace, to God. So there is pain that's running. And this hymn is the opportunity and the reminder of surrender. Over the mountains of despair, we will rise above. Over the heartache and the pain, upon the wings of love. The healing of our savage heart, gently by the dove, miraculously transforming us upon the wings of love. Terrible mistakes we think we've made, regrets we've undergone. Sometimes the hopelessness makes us forget the sun at dawn. All delight and joyousness, the tender mercies of Jesus, who carries our burdens upon the wings of love. Jesus, who carries our burdens upon the wings of love. The wings of love are there, even while you're determined to be a false identity. The wings of love are there to serve you as you have a glimpse at all of letting go, of surrendering. The wings of love, complete love, always there for you. And the Divine Mother being called for healing out of the misery of the self-made identity, asking for help only for your love, dear Mother, only for healing and transformation. I ask the Divine Mother to come and open to the heart of love, only for true love. I ask for healing in this healing session of love. I let the Divine Mother heal what is necessary that's in my way that I've made up, only for your love. Apenas por vosso amor, apenas por caridade, a vós te damos louvor, ó Virgem da castidade. Apenas por vosso amor, atendo nosso chamado, ajuda-nos, ó Senhor, a curar a necessitado. In this moment, can you ask to have healed what is necessary, to give an opening to the divine, heal what is necessary? I don't know what it is. I don't know what is necessary to remove out of the way of love in this moment, but heal what is necessary. To have the faith to give over your life to the divine and ask to heal what is necessary without your approval or disapproval of what that might be. To truly open to trusting the wisdom of the divine, that God is completely aware of every beloved and what is most helpful for their journey to unfold in this moment. Always, the divine teacher, the divine physician, is waiting to show you the way. And how many lifetimes have been in the know? I decide what gets healed and what doesn't get healed, and that voice is the ego. And the ego's intention is to make it as difficult and as insane as possible. The more that you allow the divine to bring healing to you, to heal what is necessary, the easier the road becomes. There are so many strategies that the ego uses, and the more that you open the door for the ego by knowing, by wanting to know, the more narrow the opening becomes. But heal what is necessary says, blow it open. Blow it open and heal what is in the way now. And allow yourself to feel the relaxation of that calling, to sink into that you are asking the power of the universe to transform what you have made up. And you can rest there. And you must rest there and allow the divine physician to orchestrate your healing. Even asking the question, where do I think I'm in charge? Where do I think I know? How much time do I spend running through my mind, trying to make sense of my mind? I don't know. Is the link to the divine physician? I don't know. Dodging creditors and feeling hogtied. You might think twice about leaving the sidelines of love where you are allowed to dawdle. I wouldn't enter the real playing field unless you had no other choice. Surely you can come up with another good excuse. You could run up some more debt. That could keep you busy dodging creditors like a rabbit might the fox's hunger. Maybe get a lover on the side, maybe 2, maybe 3. That would possibly assure a delay in having to get serious about any inner life for quite a spell. Before you finally decide, you do in fact have to cough up some heart effort at some point. What is the value of putting your faith into practice and concluding there really is something to all of this God stuff? Well, for openers, it can become a solid wooden bench you can stand on to see over the hedge that now keeps your awareness so limited you sometimes feel hogtied and wish you were dead. You might think twice about leaving the sidelines of love where you are allowed to dawdle. Allowed to dawdle, and the sidelines is basically the knower. That's what keeps you on the sidelines, is the knowing. And it has absolutely no value except to keep you on the sidelines. And here is Hafiz saying, I wouldn't enter the real playing field unless you had no other choice. Surely you can come up with another good excuse. This is the beauty of Hafiz in his tongue-in-cheek way of saying, come on, can't you see in what I'm saying, that you're waiting on the sidelines in your habits and knowing? You could run up some debt. That could keep you busy dodging creditors like a rabbit might a fox's hunger. Maybe get a lover or 2 or 3. That would probably assure a delay. Many use that delay in many lifetimes. but that you are going to decide that you have to, in fact, cough up some heart effort at some point, some heart effort to give your heart and no longer listen to the insanity of the mind. What is the value of putting your faith into practice and concluding there really is something to all this God stuff? What is the value? Well, it's where the healing is, for sure. And for openers, it can become a solid wooden bench that you can stand on to see over the hedge that keeps your awareness so limited you sometimes feel hogtied and wish you were dead. Feeling hogtied and wishing you were dead, what Hafiz is pointing to in this prayer, and that all masters point to, is that if you feel hogtied, if you feel and wish you were dead, it's a sure sign that the knower is in charge. As soon as you feel hogtied or wish you were dead, it is because you believe in your mind and you believe in your little world. Hogtied means your spirit can't breathe. Your spirit is digging down instead of being set free. To touch your spirit is to live in the intention of your spirit being free. I will step back and let God lead the way, is saying that your spirit is following and learning from the divine all day long, because the divine physician is leading the way. You are listening, you are learning, you are available for correction from the divine. You are wanting to be corrected. You are wanting to learn how to step away from the insanity of the habit of identity, or else you feel hogtied because your spirit is smothering. It isn't going to die. It can't die. But you said, yes, I'm ready for freedom. Yes. I want to remember. Yes. And so the spirit, the divine spirit, is waiting for the lie to be unraveled. But every day in the knowing, the spirit gets dispirited because everything is about knowing. And there's not the learner that is answering that yes, that you wanted to be set free. This is not about whether you say yes. You all say yes. It's the games that the ego plays in between. It's the games that are the kind of understructure that holds everything in limitation of healing. The belief that you know what anything is being hogtied. It's being hogtied. Because your spirit is with God. Your spirit is one with the divine and is intact. but to allow the spirit to be known to you, to meet the spirit, is to be in the not knowing. When will you meet your spirit? It can be right now. But the knowing can't come into that journey of remembering because it's made up. It can't come to truth. In every moment, the ego's number one trump card is, I know what's going on. I'm going to assess what's going on. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to figure out how to be the safest I can be, the most offended I can be. And know how to control the situation. This is the ego's main game. Assessing, expecting an outcome that is to your liking, whatever that means. Assuming that you do know and that your perceptions are correct. And overall knowing. But none of it is accurate because it comes from a place of fear. It comes from a habit that is so embedded because it's the whole identity. It came from past lifetimes. It keeps getting handed down. Keep using it in one form or another. But whatever it is that is the defense system, it depends on assessing, assuming, and trusting perception, which is the knower. How does a beloved who is spirit come into a room? What do they see? What have they assessed? When I come into a room, the only purpose of being in that room is to serve love, is to be love. And everything that is seen and shown is coming from a place of love, a place of offering. There's no resemblance between the two. When fear comes into a room, when the ego comes into a room, the habit of the ego says, I'm going to figure out everybody and assess, and then I'm going to make assumptions about everything. And it's all going to be from my identity of what I think I know. There's no love being offered in that assessment, that assumption, that expectation, that knowing. It's the very habit that the ego does not want you to see as fear. It wants you to see it as confidence, as knowing, as assuredness, as pride. Whatever the ingredients are, you're not really actually aware of anything real that is in the room, because the assumptions, the expectations, the assessments are all coming from your identity and your past. To walk into a room with love is to have no perceived thoughts and to have no intention other than to bring comfort and love into the room. Every word, every thought, every expression is meant to serve the calling of the spirit of love that is in each beloved. When the ego enters the room, the unconscious is already in a low-grade fear. And the narcissism of the ego says, this is about protection. This is about defense. And each beloved in that place of believing in knowing and the unconscious fear, each one has a different assessment, a different assumption, a different reaction, a different knowing, and each one is vying that theirs is correct. There's a battle that's going on without any words even being spoken. And when the words do come, they come as some kind of protection. But all of that is being called to be healed, because your essence, your divine spirit self, is waiting to be remembered, embraced, and letting this false identity fall away that has no value. It isn't better, it isn't worse, it's totally fabricated. In that room, when the ego walks in, the ego likes to compare who's doing a better job of knowing. We're comparing illusion, makes no sense. And it is a calling so deep that is calling to let this all go. Heal me of what's in the way, dear God. Let that power of love serve you, serve humanity by denying the insanity its authenticity. It has no authenticity. It is a fraud, a false identity. And if it wasn't so painful, it would be a big joke. But the pain keeps the belief in it going. You must conquer the pain, you must get past the pain. It's all made up. And every thought that anyone has at any moment that is not of love is pain. And it's an attack. And the attack gets chosen because of the knowing. What is it in your life that God cannot run, that you believe that you have to intercede and take over instead of allowing the light of God's love and harmony unfold? What is it that you think you know something needs to be, and what it needs to be like for an outcome that you think you already have approved of? The idea in any situation that you think you know the outcome of how it should be is your pain, because you're duped all the time over and over again that you're right. And then you're hogtied. You're hogtied to your own belief in what you think you know. You feel hogtied. You're not really hogtied, but you feel it. But this is such an important element of healing, that you cannot possibly know the outcome that is best in any situation, because the purpose of the situation is not to have a good or bad outcome within the world. The purpose of the situation is to learn a deeper truth of love. It is your schoolroom. That is its purpose. The other is made up. And if it is your schoolroom, you can't possibly know whether someone is doing something right or something wrong, because neither have any meaning at all. So when the intention is that you're the knower of what is right and wrong, or how something should be, or what it looks like, or the perception of it, it's completely fabricated. And you're fooling yourself into believing that what you think you know of right and wrong has value, when it doesn't. Every rule that you believed in as you incarnated, every rule was totally fabricated. The cause and effect of everything has been made up. You are the effect of God, and God is your cause. God created you, and in that creation, you became the effect of God. So all the cause and effect that you believe in the world, as far as your rules of how things should function, have to be surrendered into the hands of God. They have to be relinquished, to be free, to no longer feel hogtied. There is nothing that's hogtying you except what's in the mind of knowing. There is nothing occurring at all other than a perception of your meaning of what you have given to the world. All the rules in the quiet mind allow all the rules that you have believed in to be brought to the light, so that it can be relinquished and surrendered and forgiven for its insanity. Do you have a rule to put one shoe on before another? Do you have a rule of how you put your socks on? Do you have a rule of how you brush your teeth? Do you have a rule of the temperature that you like? Do you have a rule that says what time it is by the darkness outside? Do you have a rule that says that time is important? The list of rules are all made within your mind. They are not of God. They are all made to defend, to protect. They have to be surrendered, and happily surrendered, because you'll be free. You'll no longer feel hogtied. So then you can look over the fence and see the truth and let it come into your awareness. your awareness, to keeps your awareness so limited. This is about letting go of all these limited veils that you've put in front with the rules and the habits and all the ideas of what you think you know. Let yourself come empty, be emptied, and come into the room and see the call for love instead of the knowing for safety. Check each word that you say. Check it. What is it for? What are you saying and what is it for? Who does it serve? Because I guarantee you, if it's a word that's coming from the ego, and it will be if it's not your divine spirit, if the word is coming from your habit, it is for self-preservation. It is for the self. It is not for anyone else. It is not to serve anyone. It is not to offer any love to anyone. It's to self-serve and to protect and defend. Check the intention. Check the mind's thoughts. Check. Give it all to God and let it be healed. Every moment healed. And in your daily life, be aware that old habits come back and want another chance to be in charge. Be aware, I will step back and let God lead. I will follow. I don't know the way. And I don't know what is helpful or best for anyone. And I don't know what's good or bad. That's all made up. Only love is the truth of who you are. Divine Spirit, eternal, and the light of God. One heart.